This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Liam Ellis.
What's up guys, Liam here again, parkour and movement specialist, and today the Pioneer has asked me to teach you how to handstand. Now I have no claims to the world's best handstand, but I have done some pretty cool handstands in some pretty cool places, and I've taught hundreds of people how to handstand in real life, face to face, in person. So along the way I've picked up a lot of information on how to overcome the more beginner mistakes and the best ways to progress into your first handstand. And the beautiful thing about handstands is they pretty much have an infinite progression. You've probably seen some amazing calisthenics practitioners who do these amazing shapes in their handstand, and it all starts with just getting to grips with learning to be upside down on your hands. Now, apart from of course looking and feeling extremely cool, handstands are an amazing technique to help you train a few different things. Things like being upside down, your spatial awareness when you are upside down, a lot of shoulder strength. It opens up to exercises like handstand push-ups, which really help to train your shoulders and your upper body. It's something that's relatively safe and you can train it pretty much everywhere. All you need is a floor, and if you're a beginner, usually a wall. The very first thing we're going to do before we crack into how to do a handstand is you're going to make sure that you warm up your wrists. So you want to make sure that you're warming up your wrists as thoroughly as possible, because this is something that can really, stagnate your progress. Because if you end up with a sore wrist, which can happen, quite fast if you don't warm them up before you do your handstands, you're gonna end up with this kind of like pain, and you're gonna wanna practice them, you're gonna wanna do it, but you're gonna have this ache in your wrist, and then maybe you're gonna have to get wrist supports, these kind of things, and it's just not worth it. All you need to do is make sure that you get a thorough warm up before you start doing your handstands. So I'm gonna show you how to do that now. We're gonna start by interlacing our fingers and rolling our wrists, getting some blood flow into the wrist area. Next, we're gonna put our hands flat on the floor, on our knees, lock our arms out, fingers spread, and we're gonna rock gently backwards and forwards. Careful not to push too much on your wrists, but trying to get a little bit of extra flexibility each time. Then you can do the same thing, put your hands side to side, rock side to side, and then hands backwards, rocking back and forth. And then on top, nice and gently, make sure you don't put too much pressure on, rolling backwards and forwards, twisting your elbows backwards and forwards. Then we'll go inside and backwards. Then just give them a little shake and make sure that you feel good to go. Before we break down the drills and crack into the step-by-step how to work up to a handstand, the first thing I want to cover is a proper handstand position, just so you know exactly what you're aiming for when we work on all the techniques that build you up step by step. So you want to make sure that your arms are locked out. This is super important because any bend in the elbow is going to give you some kind of flexion and make things a little bit harder for you. You want to make sure that the arm is fully locked out, your hands are spread, and that you screw your arm into the floor, almost like you're turning a tap. When you're in your handstand, you want to make sure that your shoulders are covering your ears. Your head should be tilted just enough so that you can see your fingertips and no more. And you want to be pushing away from the floor, so lifting your arms above your head as high as possible, getting a full extension. You want to make sure that your core is tight and tucked, and you want to tilt your pelvis forward so that you're nice and in line. Obviously, when we sit down, and most people tend to have a bit of an anterior pelvic tilt, so make sure that you tuck that butt in and lift your hips up. Get your legs nice and straight and locked out, feet together and toes pointed. You can actually use this straightening and unstraightening as a drill to help you build up strength in your upper body and your shoulders. So kind of relaxing yourself off and then pulling it tight, head sticks out, arch your back, all the things you would do wrong, and then snap it into position. It will help teach you the motor pathways for the position and build up your strength. Now I'm going to break down step by step exactly how to get you into a handstand the best way possible. And I'm going to teach you the strict form, and that's why I'm telling you about the nice straight handstand. But there's nothing to say, I just want to throw a disclaimer out there, there's nothing to say that you can't just be doing a handstand like you're a kid, banana backed, walking all over on your hands, legs flailing everywhere, just trying to catch a balance, having loads of fun with it. This is just what I think, and this is how I actually learned to handstand as a kid. But I don't think it's definitely not the best way to learn to handstand and to get you into these more difficult progressions. But it is just as fun. So don't worry about being super strict if that's just not your game. So the best way to get started with your handstand is to try it with some bunny hops. It's Especially if you're not used to getting upside down, this will help you gradually train yourself to go a little bit more each time. So what you're going to do is hands flat on the floor, screw your arms in as before, make sure that they're nice and locked out, and you're just going to start by lifting your legs off the floor, giving yourself a little bit of a bounce and going as far up as you feel absolutely comfortable. Don't hit a vertical yet. If you don't feel safe, that's absolutely fine. You might find this comes really naturally, you might find it comes really hard. It depends how comfortable you are with being upside down, and that can often be a genetics thing or just something that you might not have experienced before. And so what you're going to do is you're going to gradually lift yourself into a higher and higher bunny hop, being careful not to open your hips out. You don't want to be opening your hips out. Keep everything nice and tucked and tight. When you find yourself ready to become more vertical, you may feel absolutely fine to do this without any protection, but I would recommend either doing it up against a wall or doing it up against like with some pillows behind you so that you can fall onto your pillows. This is such a great way to learn, especially if you are really scared of going over your head. Obviously make sure that the pillows are nice and soft and really built up, and test them with like a forward roll first. Don't slam into your back. Often you're heavier than you think, so make sure that you've got a nice soft padding. And you can practice things like forward rolls first if you're really scared of going over your head, which I've found is like quite a common fear for people. Just use the pillows, just do a forward roll, slowly but surely build yourself up into falling with straight arms, and before you know it, you'll feel a lot more comfortable. Once you've gotten comfortable with getting your bunny hops fairly high but not quite vertical, get yourself up against a wall. This is going to be the best way for you to stop at the right moment, find out exactly where you are, and you'll feel your feet touch the wall, and then when you get to this stage, that's when you can start extending your legs. Now this is the first time that you're going to start to hit a balance. Now make sure you take enough of a break so that you don't feel too tired on the arms, and you can continually just practice, take a little break, start again. The great thing about handstands is that they are considered a skill-based move, not a strength-based move, which whilst of course they take some strength, you can continuously practice them fairly regularly, pretty much as regularly as you want, and it won't interfere too much with your other workouts and things like this. So we've got ourselves to where our feet can touch the wall. Once we can do this, we can slowly begin to hold the balance there, feet against the wall, and slowly but surely just extend those legs up and reach them as high as you possibly can. Now I would encourage you to film yourself doing these. Grab your phone and just set it up so that you can film yourself, and make sure that you're not arching your back too much, your head isn't sticking out too much, you're not unraveling too early or trying to get to that handstand point too early. Be nice and patient, keep yourself as tucked as possible, and you want to imagine that your spine is rolling up the wall, and then your feet will touch, and then you can extend your legs. Take it piece by piece and make sure that you slowly progress this one. If you rush it, what tends to happen is that you try and straighten your back too early and you shoot your legs out and off to the side, and that's not what we want. Once you've got yourself into a place where you're happy to do your handstand, do your bunny hop, roll yourself up, touch the wall, extend your legs, then what you want to be doing is just slowly taking one foot away from the wall and putting it back. And then try the other foot, slowly take it away from the wall, put it back, come down, start again, and slowly but surely you'll get to this place where you've got like a little bit of a balance point off of the wall. Now once you get to this place, it definitely coincides with the time that you should start trying to do these literally on the floor with no support. Maybe you have the cushions behind you just in case you fall or anything like this, but you want to be trying to do your bunny hops and get into that balance point. Again, I would recommend filming yourself, making sure that your technique doesn't break down when there's no wall around, and that you're not rushing to try and get into the handstand too early. I know it might feel like it's a little bit more scary to come outside sometimes, particularly if you're used to going up against the wall, but I really would recommend it because you've got a lot more space around you, you've got a lot more room to kind of fall over, fall left, right, back. You're not worried about hitting the TV or the wall or any of this kind of stuff, and just kind of having a bit of space around you can really help, especially on some nice soft grass in the middle of winter. Super muddy here, and it's all very nice, soft and squishy, so if I fall down, it's really not a big deal. I would definitely recommend trying this. Just try and be a little bit brave, head out to your park and just try some outside. So as with all balancing things, it's a matter of repetition, so I'd really recommend 15 minutes a day will really help you to start getting the hang of how to do this. You know, every time you see a wall, just be like, okay, I'm just gonna do a handstand up against that wall, see how I feel, come back down, you know, go again. Something else you can do is use the wall but the other way around, so you can kind of walk your feet up the wall as much as you're comfortable with, and just get this feel of just being on your hands and getting more and more comfortable with it. If you do 15 minutes of this every single day, like to the point that you're most comfortable, I promise you'll very quickly see results. You'll very quickly see yourself become more comfortable being upside down. Your body will just get used to it, and then your mind will relax about it. Once you feel quite comfortable with being upside down, but maybe you're struggling to hold for more than 1 or 2 seconds, you can practice things like walking on your hands and like trying to keep your balance by walking around. I definitely think that this, you don't have to stay super strict with keeping your hands flat on the floor. This is my personal preference, my personal way of teaching it, and my personal way that I learned it. You know, everyone finds their path to the handstand just a little bit differently, and you might find your way through, you know, balancing by walking around and trying to catch your balance. You'll find at the start it's just a bit alien, but you can catch little moments of balance, and then you'll feel really happy because you did like a 3-second one. You're like, whoa, that's what it felt like. And then you'll catch those moments more and more frequently, and before you know it, you'll be able to do like a really long handstand. So this is my friend Joe, and I've been coaching him for a couple of years now, and we've just recently started doing handstand work. He started off very much like I was saying, like struggling to be upside down because it was scary, didn't feel comfortable on the, you know, kicking up to the wall, being upside down, and now we're in a place where he can do them up against the wall. So I just wanted to show you this so that you know that it's possible. You can start from zero and you can really make progress.
To begin with, I was kind of even nervous of just going upside down, really, and when I did, I would kind of go into like a state of panic because I just wasn't used to going upside down. But then through like the progressions you taught me against the wall, when I started building it up that way, I got used to one little thing at a time. And then through that, I managed to just kind of build it up to the point where I am now, where I can do a handstand against the wall, and just, I'm going to keep working on to progress from there until I can do it without the assistance of the wall.
One of the things that you might find holding you back is that your shoulder position is a little bit too closed, meaning that your shoulders are a little bit too inflexible. And there's a few exercises that I'll show you here that are pretty good for opening up those shoulders and starting to open up your chest so that you've got a nice straight spine and alignment in your shoulders. With this exercise, I'm making sure that my arm is glued to the wall and my back, as much of me is touching the wall as possible to get that nice alignment head to toe, and just open the shoulders. You might find this really difficult to start with, but eventually it'll get easier and easier, and it's a great exercise for opening up your shoulders and practicing that range of motion to get the handstand. With this exercise, you want to try and make sure that your arms stay locked, and it's really good to get a resistance band that you can put your thumbs on the inside of the band. This will help you get an extra stretch on the inside of your forearm and on the inside of your bicep, which can really help move along the progress of this particular exercise. So keep your arms locked out straight. If you can't do it, you know, too close together, you can start nice and wide, keep it relaxed, do as much as you can, and then eventually progress to having a tighter band and closer hands, and you'll find yourself getting more and more flexible if you do this every day. So this exercise for thoracic extension really opens up your shoulders and really opens up your spine and helps you counteract all of that slouching that you do throughout the day when you sit down and things like that. Go super careful with this exercise. You know, if you're not used to opening up your spine, it can be a little bit tricky and a little bit sensitive, so just go careful with it. But I would recommend doing this every day. If this was like the only thing you learned from the video, to do this every day, it would have been worth watching the video, because counteracting that hunched over arch that we get, this is the kind of thing that really just helps undo all of that, opens you up, and like, you know, starts creating more space in your shoulders and your back, and helps you breathe better as well. And that's it, guys. It's really not a super complex movement. It can be fairly difficult to understand sometimes, especially if you've never been upside down before, like I was saying. But remember, perfect practice makes perfect. So make sure that you are filming yourself, getting the correct posture, getting the correct technique, and just training it over and over and over again. All you need is a bit of floor, all you need is some wall, and just constantly just be training and practicing this movement, and it won't be long before you're getting a fairly decent balanced handstand, and then you can progress onto different things like lifts to handstand press-ups. It opens up a world of different things, and it's really worth playing with, and you're not going to regret training this and adding this to your set of skills. Well, thanks for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope that you take this information and go and teach yourself how to do a handstand, and I would love to hear all about your progress down in the comment section below. Until next time, take care.
Hope you enjoyed that video. I definitely learned a lot from it that I'm going to take into my own handstand training. I think Liam, as usual, did a fantastic job. And I'd like to take a moment to thank Squarespace, who made today's video possible. Squarespace is the sponsor of this video and a website building platform that makes it extremely simple and easy for anybody to build their own website. It does this by letting you first choose a ready-made template, one that you like the looks of, and from there you can customize it to your heart's content using a highly intuitive drag and drop system. It then has all of the features that you could possibly want, each of which is very easy to implement. You've got advanced publishing tools, formatting, scheduling posts for later. You've got a comprehensive commenting system with threaded comments, replies and likes, member management, analytics so you can see what's working, and then tons of ways to monetize your site through things like gated members-only content if you want to charge a subscription for your more premium articles. Of course, you've got e-commerce, which makes it extremely easy to sell products from your website. I'm a big advocate for this. I love my job, and I get to make a living doing something that I really enjoy, sharing content about fitness with you guys. With Squarespace, it's super easy. There's a really low barrier to entry and anybody can start selling products, publishing content and making money that way. It doesn't have to be a huge time sink and it can make some money on the side, but you then have all of the features available if you want to grow it into a full business. And if there's any features missing that you need, you can always add them on thanks to the huge roster of plugins provided by Squarespace and the community. These include things like global shipping, inventory management, tax reconciliation, and so much more. Squarespace grows with you depending on how much you need at any given time. It's the perfect jumping on point, but there's no limit to what you can do. I highly recommend Squarespace, and if you want to check it out, then go to squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Bioneer to get 10% off your first domain or website. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, thanks to Liam for making it, and thanks to you guys for watching. Bye for now.